You check your bank app. Bills paid, groceries bought, maybe a little left over. But deep down, something feels wrong. A quiet unease. The headlines scream growth, GDP climbing, stocks shattering records, unemployment scraping lows. Yet every month ends tighter than the last. The paycheck vanishes faster, the savings barely budge. You're not imagining it, and you're far from alone. Right now, in early 2026, the US economy grew last year, 2.2% real GDP after inflation. Not explosive, but steady, resilient even. Better than many expected amid tariffs, policy shifts, even a government shutdown that dragged the fourth quarter down to just 1.4%. Consumer spending held firm. Investment in tech and AI powered through. On paper, it's real progress. So why does more than half the country, sometimes far more, say the economy feels poor? Polls show consumer sentiment cratered in early 2026, hovering near historic lows, worse than pre-pandemic levels for many. Confidence edged up slightly in February, but it's still painfully low, far below the highs of late 2024. The disconnect isn't denial, it's math. Brutal, unequal math. Different math for different people. Let's walk through it. No jargon, just the raw mechanics most people live every single day. First, growth doesn't land evenly. It never really has, but the divide sharpened brutally post-pandemic. Call it the K-shaped recovery that never flattened out. Top earners, the 10% at the high end, now drive nearly half of all consumer spending. Their wealth swells with stocks, assets, bonuses. The bottom 50%? They hold about 2.5% of total net worth. The top 1%? Around 31%, a record high since tracking began. That's not abstract inequality. It means when the economy grows, a huge chunk flows upward first. The rising tide lifts yachts higher. Rowboats get tossed harder in the wake. The frustration builds quietly. Second, prices didn't reset, they plateaued higher. Inflation cooled to around 2.4% lately, but from a brutal peak that drove cumulative costs way up since 2020. Groceries, electricity, rent, childcare. Childcare for 2 kids often costs more than a mortgage in many states, averaging over $28,000 a year and rising faster than wages for most families. Eggs, gas, basics dipped a bit recently, but people remember the spikes vividly. Pain etches deeper than relief. You don't feel true relief when prices merely stop climbing so fast. You feel it when they actually fall. They haven't. Third, the things that build real security got expensive or vanished entirely. Housing is the killer. Home prices and rents stayed stubbornly elevated. Mortgage rates cooled from punishing highs that locked millions out. Younger workers, even those earning solid money, stare at a market where starter homes feel like a distant dream. Wealth used to come from owning something that appreciates over time. Now, for millions, that door stays shut longer, maybe forever. You work harder, earn more, pay more in taxes, but still can't buy the ticket to stability. The grind feels endless. And wages? They outpaced inflation in spots over the last couple of years. Real gains for many, especially at the lower end in recent stretches, but not enough to close the gaping hole from the surge, not enough to restore what was lost. For lower and middle earners, raises slowed as the job market cooled, no longer the frantic post-pandemic scramble. Delinquencies on car loans, credit cards, creeping up for many households. People cut corners not on luxuries, on food quality, on heat in winter, on family plans, on hope. Here's the uncomfortable truth, the hidden mechanism that no headlines shout. GDP counts everything. Billionaire stock gains, corporate profits, government spending, AI hype investments. It doesn't care who actually gets the money. So the economy can expand on paper while most households feel squeezed tighter every month. The top pulls away relentlessly. The middle and bottom stretch thinner just to hold on to basics that used to be routine. It's absurd when you step back and really look. We have more access to cheap goods than ever. Streaming, fast delivery, gadgets that dazzle. But the foundations, shelter, family care, health, devour bigger and bigger chunks of income. You can afford wants, needs fight you every single month. The quiet resentment simmers. Zoom out further. This isn't just personal frustration, it's structural risk building underneath. When most people feel chronically left behind, trust erodes slowly but surely. Spending tightens eventually, especially if jobs soften more or policy shocks hit harder. Consumer endurance has real limits. The economy runs on confidence as much as cash. Right now, one looks strong on paper, the other hangs by a thread. So here's the question that lingers, heavy and unresolved. If growth keeps coming but skips most households, if the system keeps rewarding the top while the middle grinds just to hold on to basics that used to be routine, what happens next? Does it self-correct through some invisible hand? Or do we just quietly get used to feeling poor in what remains one of the richest countries on Earth? That's not a prediction. It's the deep tension underneath the numbers, and it's painfully real.
Thanks for watching. If this hit home, drop a like or share your own take below. See you next time.